Hello, welcome to Office Hours. Wayne Lloyd, CEO of TraceSafe. So during this Office Hours, I'm going to talk about some of our new devices and the accessories that go with them, and then a little bit about some of the future of the product that we're doing, the new platform model, product configurator, talk about things that are going on. So I will just jump in. I'm seeing some comments already. Yeah, so we're seeing some, just some comments about cruise ships. So I'm going to talk about cruise ship products and products that you will be seeing on different cruise ship companies, more cruise ship companies, as we move through the industry, and you'll be seeing more announcements on those contracts and partnerships very soon. But for right now, I want to talk about this new product. So you can see the product here, which I think I've shown quite a few people before in the Telegram group and other places. Here's what it looks like on sort of a plastic lanyard, and here is what it looks like on a neck lanyard. So it's got a nice recessed clip, so you can put you can use that as a mounting point. It also serves as a guide for the charger, and so allows it to be really versatile when it comes to using the product. So this product has our quick pairing system in it, which I'm going to go into much more detail later. It's got a haptic motor, so it can give vibration feedback, a built-in speaker, so it can give audible alerts, and it's got a nice, I don't know if you can see it, if this one's charged up, you can see the light that can turn on there. So there's, so that can give you kind of a visual alert. So there's a little bit of visual, audible, and haptic feedback on the device, which is really good. It's kind of similar to the Apple AirTag. It's a little bit bigger, but it has a lot more features packed into it. So what we talked about before is really versatile. It can go on a wristband, lanyard, or other device. It has NFC built in for payments. So if you want to use this can be used as a contact tracing device. It can also be used, for other sort of touchless, contactless payments on board cruise ships or anywhere where it gets used. It's water and dust resistant, so that's really great for cruise ship environment. In addition, it's very much an intelligent device. It has a gyroscope and accelerometer built in, and onboard AI chip that can interpret some of the movements. Now, this is not a feature that's active in any deployments yet. It's something that we're working on. We're developing some AI capabilities, and the discipline here is human activity recognition. So, if you want to understand, where people are and some of the interesting things that are going on. So some of these that you've probably seen these in consumer devices, which would be like in the Apple Watch. It can tell if you are washing your hands or if you're walking, sitting, and a lot of those things. So those are all functions. We're obviously a B2B company. We're working with businesses. So we're going to be working closely in partnership with them to develop those functionalities and roll out those pieces to their customers. So yeah, I think that's everything to talk about there. But hold on, sorry, just go back to that slide. I'll just talk a little bit about our charging station. So this is something that you're going to see deployed to a lot of the cruise ships. It's kind of a rack charger like this. This is something where what we're talking about is chain charging. So we have these devices that just get plugged in, all right? And you can stack these, right? They're like a kind of an egg carton design. You can stack them very high. And so what we're talking about here is chain charging. So as the passengers come off the cruise ship, they start to charge these devices. You stack them up, and the devices, they get charged very quickly. And by the time you have those passengers offloaded, the first devices that went on the charger are ready to come off the charger and be redeployed. So they have a battery life that lasts much longer than the typical journey, the cruise ship time frame, but they're able to get topped up in between passenger unloading and loading. So this is something, a product innovation that came straight from the cruise ship industry. They said this is sort of how we need to see this. And this is one of the things that we're going to talk about, is the customization of devices and device accessories being a massively, massively important component of successful enterprise deployments. We are in the enterprise business. We're in the enterprise IoT space, and this is a hugely important part of that. So we can probably jump over to the next slide, and I'll use this. So this example I'm using is Micron. So we designed and delivered 60,000 devices in 60 days for Micron, just the end of 2020. And that had a lot of core product learnings that are really shaping the future of the company. So the challenge was to deliver 60,000 devices to a single customer, one of the largest global technology firms in the Fortune 500, operating in about 20 countries. So we have to deploy the devices to a massive number of people at a massive number of separate locations. So one of their requirements was that we have to have a device that has it's globally standardized and it has a replaceable battery. That's one thing that you're seeing, actually slight trend change in the industry, is that these replaceable batteries are actually seen. If you don't have to replace them very often, it's seen as a huge bonus to have that type of form factor, because there is no charging involved. You just have to remember, once every 6 months, once every 4, maybe 12 months to replace the battery. And so you have that kind of global standardization. You don't have to worry about chargers and all that kind of stuff. So we have a customized device that was delivered with a standard 4A battery. So that was the first kind of requirement. Second requirement, had to be deployed in 20 countries with varied internet connectivity and kind of different standards there. The most important thing being the fact that you have to onboard and get all these devices connected to the cloud network. And so how do you do that? So a lot of the solutions are running through people's individual phones. They're an app on people's phones. That creates its own deployment problem. So we have these LTE gateways or LTE enabled gateways that can either go through the company's Wi-Fi or through their or through an LTE network, just with a SIM card, that collects the data from the devices, and it also deploys the devices in a very seamless way that we're going to get into on the next slide here. But we had to integrate with their existing HR reporting systems. So we had to develop an API that pushed that information back and forth. So we developed an API that pushed the IoT data into the client system. And the fourth is we needed to be able to rapidly manufacture these devices so we could deliver them in large quantities within a few months. So we have a very unique sort of design deployment strategy that links a complex supply chain in the back end using many, many vendors. So we're able to make those customizations, pass that information to that supply chain, and have those guys spin up massive device quantities in a very short amount of time. So this is one of our competitive edges. We've seen other companies develop systems where they had customizability around the software, but very few, and the expectation is that you use off-the-shelf hardware for that. What we've been consistently finding, and what's been consistently surprising, is that companies want to have a lot of control and say over the specs of the hardware and what hardware they use, because they want to be able to use those as their own brands. So it's either it's something that's just unique to their situation, or it's something that they want to be able to own from a technology perspective, the kind of thought leadership and direction of the product. So we give our clients the control that they need to get these specs exactly dialed in to what they're going to need. So that's incredibly important. So this was a major learning curve that we went through, delivering all these devices, getting them out to the client, and it led to actually a lot of product innovation from a platform perspective. So our hardware customizability is one of them, and we're going to go into a lot of detail there. And our software customizability, the cloud portion, which I think we're going to quickly talk about now. So one of our major cloud innovations was around device pairing. So a typical setup is you basically make a device discoverable, and then you find that device on the network using another Bluetooth radio, and you associate that device with an individual. So this takes a few minutes each time to start that discovery process, pair it, and then assign. And it becomes difficult to reassign these devices. The device needs to be unpaired and then repaired. It's very time consuming. So when you think about deploying something like 60,000 devices, let's say it takes 60 to 90 seconds, you're talking about 1,500 hours to pair all of those devices. We needed to develop a system that handled that in a much more efficient way. So in the TraceSafe setup, the devices are paired to an organization at the factory. They're associated with the gateway, which is that wireless device, which is really the cornerstone of how everything works as far as the TraceSafe platform. And either they get a QR code scanner, or they do a bulk CSV upload, and then basically as soon as the device comes in close proximity to or even sees a gateway on the network, it'll just automatically assign that to the right person. So this is massively time saving. This takes from each device being 1.5 minutes, 1 to 1.5 minutes, down to being like 1 or 2 seconds. So it means 60,000 devices can be deployed and paired within a couple minutes. The system is very robust, very well tested, and really efficient at doing that. So this was a customization and a big breakthrough that we made as we were working through this massive order. So this leads us to what we're talking about today, which is offering the TraceSafe product, less as a enterprise, direct enterprise sale device, and more offering the entire platform itself as a platform as a service. So we already do customizable software, and we already do customizable hardware. So this is really about exposing that workflow to our customers from the very beginning. So the scalable software development, the software development, the manufacturing, and the supply chain ecosystem really make up that that entire picture. So that's, customizable cloud, customizable software, and customizable devices. So that's your hardware. As I said, all customers require some customizability when it comes to how the software works and how it acts in their environments. But the core insight was really that people needed customizable hardware. And so, like I said, we do both of those things already. So we're now in the process of kind of exposing that to our customer base. What ends up happening is you end up delivering apps that meet unique client compliance and feature needs, and that can integrate with your existing ecosystems. That's our cloud. And then we have custom hardware that can be manufactured in large quantities through our integrated manufacturing, design, and supply chain that we have to get massive devices delivered in a very short period of time. The end results are you end up with customizable dashboards. So dashboards, the way that the clients interact with their data becomes totally customizable. The way their devices behave and what they can do with them becomes very customizable. The firmware on the devices can be configured to behave, in the way that makes sense, and you have that editable capability. And then on the devices, you end up with essentially, this housing, has a battery, it has sensors, it has chips, it has radio sets. How big the battery is, right? And how long the product lasts, how the device is programmed to behave, how many times it interacts with gateways and so on. We want to make these all customer configurable so that the end user, the enterprise customer that we have, can control every element of this. But we look at this as just a stack. And it can come in any form factor. It doesn't have to be that particular button form factor. It can be disposable. It can be wristbands. It can be integrated into different wearable products. And then we get to the customized accessories. So these are form factors that interact with our devices and make them really unique and on brand with what the customer's trying to do. So, particularly when you look at these cruise ships, they already have established brands of what the devices are called, how they look, and they want to make slight changes and tweaks to those things, but have the entire thing live on a platform like TraceSafe that's super reliable, super scalable, super secure. But have it look and feel like their own product. And so that has been the direction that we've been moving for the last couple months, and we're making incredible progress. So you're seeing the results of that progress in rapidly deployed new hardware form factors, rapidly deployed hardware accessories like these new charging stations and so on, and also rapidly deployed customized software solutions that are really addressing all of those customer needs. And so this is really the story about taking TraceSafe beyond this COVID theme and showing that we have a full-fledged platform that we're allowing enterprise customers to build on top of, and we basically become a platform vendor that takes revenue from both the sale of the software, of the hardware, which we help them design and deploy through our manufacturing and supply chain ecosystem, and also the software platform. So the actual platform that runs the devices, you get a continuous ongoing payment system there. So this takes us to how we sort of show this product in the market and how we communicate this configurability of our devices. Because before this, customers, we'd have these large enterprise customers make inquiries, and then we would, discuss with them. Yes, of course, we can change this and make adjustments and sort of get them the device that they wanted, but we want to be able to communicate that and show that to the world. So, we're developing a device configurator. This is a preview of what that's going to look like, but clients can basically build and order the devices that meet their exact needs through a customized web portal that we're going to have on TraceSafe.io. They'll be able to see all of the housing types, the battery specifications, more importantly, the chips and the sort of the AI applications that they're going to be able to do based on the chipset, and develop a custom stack that will really become their own product. They might have different user categories. You might have some devices that are, reusable and for permanent full-time employees, and you might have some devices that are disposable for guests or other people. And so we give them that flexibility to build. And then more importantly, our customers are these very, very, very large global organizations. The key is giving them the ability to deliver at scale. So that, configurator is going to take all the learnings we've had with all of our major clients to date and sort of bake that into a singular product that will help guide people through this process and just show them what can be done with the TraceSafe ecosystem. So that's really the main thing I wanted to touch on, just, effectively talking about this new product that's being used in the cruise ship industry, which is very, which is a great kind of achievement for our team to put this together very quickly, deploy it, test it, and more importantly, get it manufactured at scale. I want to go over the case study of delivering 60,000 devices in 60 days to over 20 countries, which is quite a achievement. Review some of our kind of cloud innovations that we're doing, and then talk about the new move to a platform as a service, which we think is a very, very, very important part of our post-COVID strategy, to be able to give large enterprise customers the ability to build wearable and non-wearable devices for both asset tracking and for wearable use cases to deploy on their inside their enterprise environment. And so really, when we think about it, we're really effectively improving enterprise operations through location-aware intelligent devices. And that's really the mission of the company, is to get deep into the operations portion of what an enterprise is doing and be able to solve some of those problems using the wearables. There's lots, so I'll get to the question and answer here. So anything else in the pipeline besides the cruise industry? Yeah, there's tons of activity in many other industries, and so the move to this platform is really a response to kind of the diversity of what we're seeing as far as customer demand. So if we were just servicing the cruise industry, there wouldn't be really a need to develop a kind of a universal platform that other people could build products on and customize software on, because we'd be building for one use case and we wouldn't really require the flexibility. So we are seeing tons of activity from a bunch of other industries. I'll just go through, some of what we're seeing is on the healthcare side. So we saw the patient path product. We're going to see that kind of continue to grow and scale. The construction industry continues to be a major driver for us, both on the innovation front and deployment front. The hospitality industry broadly, it's not just cruise ships, it's the broad hospitality industry. These are intelligent devices. They're being used as room keys, and in all sorts of circumstances. So that's very much beyond just the cruise ship industry. And in the enterprise, we're seeing these use cases come up over and over again. There's one use case that consistently we see, which is companies have very, very expensive devices that aren't necessarily legacy devices, but they might have been built before there was this concept of like a Find My iPhone type functionality built into every mobile device. So, something that comes to mind is like, the scanning devices that your courier has. There's like lots of tablets that are custom built tablets that don't have, GPS and a kind of a Find My phone capability built into them. So what we're hearing from them is that they just want a very simple device that they can attach to the existing device to basically enable a Find My iPhone type functionality, and that's really what we're building. So that's one of the big enterprise use cases that we see. And then the last one is events. So events, we're going to see a lot more of those come up in the next little bit around sports and different things. So yeah, that's an amazing thing. But great question. Anything else in the pipeline besides the cruise industry? So on the SaaS revenue, so what I can say is that depending on the size of the customer, we're charging between $2 and $4 per month for SaaS. So on the larger side, I think if it's above 20,000 employees, we're talking about a $2 per month fee. And if it's below 10,000 employees, it gets to that $4 a month charge. So I see a couple people sort of typing in some pricing. So yeah, close, but the larger the customer, obviously the more the lower the per user price comes in, and that is something that it's I think people are really missing with our revenue story, is that as we deploy these devices into the enterprise, into hospitality, and so on, we deploy with hardware, but we get this continual monthly revenue that's ongoing. So in that example, the Micron example you just pointed out, that's very key, is that we're getting an ongoing cloud revenue from these customers. Just scrolling through some of these questions. Yeah, so we'll be announcing some more partnerships and major contracts in the coming weeks. I think that there's going to be some very, very exciting news that everyone will be very welcome for everybody. Not just in the cruise industry, although the cruise industry is a massive focus of deployment right now for the company. But also in the enterprise and kind of construction type businesses. So a lot of good stuff to look forward to there. Registered intellectual property. Like, look, a lot of the stuff that gets developed in technology companies isn't necessarily registrable or patentable. I think it's sort of an old-fashioned term nowadays. The thing that matters is how things work together and how quickly and efficiently product teams are able to get useful solutions to their customers. And those are really the only defensible things in the world. So I think the products are what matter, and delivering the right mix. There's all sorts of stuff that we're actually looking at patenting, but I think that the patent concept kind of is not necessarily totally outdated, but it's definitely a lot less relevant in our context, especially when we're dealing with like a standards-based system with Bluetooth and so on. Were we able to crack the US cruise lines? Our product is superior. Yeah, our product is superior, and we're doing a great job in the US. So we've had a team go back and forth to Miami and working on a lot of exciting opportunities there, and we'll have some announcements very soon. So I think that's pretty much it. I think there's a question about AirBeam. So AirBeam will have, I believe, a product, not a product announcement, but a material announcement in the next little bit. I think earlier this week, I said it would be out in the next 2 weeks. I expect it to be out sometime in that time frame. So look forward to that. $2.5 million stock-based compensation was a bit concerning on the balance sheet. If you look at all the stuff that that has come out in the financials, those are all things that were announced, maybe a year prior. So I don't think there's any surprise in any of that stock-based comp, and there's some additional equity option exercising and other things that are going to be coming out related to long ago acquisitions and other things. So none of those things are new news, but they take a little while to sort of work through and show up on the financials. So all of those items, the stock-based compensation, the equity option compensation, and other things were all announced a very, very long time ago. You're just seeing them on the balance sheet now. Listing on a different exchange, any update on this? I mean, there's a lot of discussion around listing on a different exchange. I think we have to make sure that we comply with those uplisting requirements, and then we will be ready to go. Well, that looks like all the questions. So thanks for everybody tuning in today. Really appreciate it. And hopefully it was helpful, and look forward to seeing you again next time.